Hey everybody, Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Got an update here, February the 3rd, 2020 on the Diamond Princess, the Aidaperla, the P&O ship Pacific Explorer, and the Holland America Westerdam. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, giving my video updates thumbs ups. I really appreciate those. Also, thank you for joining my group page on Facebook, Traveling with Bruce, spelled with two L's. Come on over there. We hang out between videos and live shows. All right, number one story here today, the Diamond Princess from Princess Cruise Lines. The ship had an 80-year-old gentleman get on this vessel back in January the 20th. This is like almost 2 weeks ago. He got on the ship in Yokohama, Japan. He got off the ship in Hong Kong on January the 25th, 2020, 5 days later. He had a cough at that time. When he got off the ship 5 days later, on the 30th of January, he had a fever. He has this virus, and the ship now has returned back to Yokohama. Just on its cruise, 7 other people are now ill on the ship, and the Japanese authorities are quarantining everyone and the ship itself for at least 24 hours for tests. Unbelievable. We just don't know how to detect this virus for sure yet. Now, on the Aidaperla cruise ship, this vessel here 2 days ago was denied entry into St. Lucia. Beautiful area here. Now, as of yesterday, the ship was denied docking privileges in Dominica. Now, we have found out that we knew there were people ill on board with upper respiratory infection type problems. We've now heard as many as 70 passengers have fallen ill on the ship, and 20 are very ill. We still do not know whether this is that virus out of China or not, or whether it is just a flu type problem. But St. Lucia won't allow the ship in with its passengers. Dominica won't allow them in. The question now, will the other ports on this itinerary for Ada Nova let in the ship? It ends its cruise in a few days in the Dominican Republic, and we're going to have to find out just, what happens here. How many more people will be ill? How bad will they be? The German tourists on this ship cannot be happy. They pay top dollar to go on a Caribbean cruise, and they can't get off the ship at these ports of call. They're just on a long, long cruise. For how long? No one knows. The third story is all about the P&O ship, the Pacific Explorer. Now, this ship was the other day, it started its cruise in Sydney, Australia. And when it got to Cairns, Australia, a couple days later, the cruise line had to ask 81 of her passengers to get off the ship. 81 passengers from China. These are Chinese nationals. And the reason is that Singapore, which this ship will stop at in a few days, has banned all travelers from China into its country. And this ship cannot bring 81 passengers it has on board now into Singapore. So they did what was called a compassionate disembark, where they arranged transportation and hotel accommodation for these passengers so that they wouldn't be put out on the street. And I think what they're arranging now is transportation back to Hong Kong, where I believe a lot of these folks have come from, or other parts of China, but I can't verify this at the moment. It's still sketchy. I suspect they're all getting refunds and will be compensated, but I haven't heard the official word. The last ship in my little story here, update, Holland America Westerdam. This ship started her cruise in Hong Kong a few days ago, and it is continuing a series of cruises. They're doing almost a 30-day cruise right now, but a few days ago they added 800 passengers to the ship in Hong Kong. A lot of folks are questioning why would they do this, but they did, and no one on board is exhibiting any issues or problems. However, the Westerdam found out yesterday it could not come into the Philippines. The Philippine government has denied access or porting privileges in Manila for the Westerdam. So the Westerdam now is slowly making her way northward. She has a couple of scheduled stops in Vietnam. Now, the ship had made one adjustment, and that was it was using Hong Kong as her home port. They've now changed that to Yokohama in Japan. But over 2,100 passengers on board this ship. We'll see what happens here. More and more cruise ships are now running into issues where they have ill passengers on board, or they have passengers getting ill after they leave the ship because they had the virus before they got onto the ship. And they're all finding out now, more and more of them, that they can't come into certain countries because either they just don't want anything to do with the virus, they've put a blanket ban on Chinese travelers, or they're ill-equipped to handle any kind of a medical outbreak like the spread of a virus. And so if your ship that you're on has got suspect tourist travelers on board, you may find that the cruise you're on may not be allowed into ports. We're going to follow this continually to see how bad this gets, but this cannot be good for the cruise business. More and more passengers are wondering, why should I go on a cruise if I don't even know if the cruise ship's going to be allowed into the ports that I've paid top dollar for? Why don't I just go to an all-inclusive resort, land, get to that resort, and stay there for my 1 or 2 weeks and not be bothered with changes that might come at me? We'll see what happens, folks. Stay with TWB. Thank you for joining me. We'll talk to you later, everybody. Bye for now.